We are in a season where God is definitely doing a new thing. Whether we like it or not, it's a new thing. Hurricane Michael forced us into doing a new thing. For many of the people that lived in Port St. Joe and are living in Port St. Joe and Panama City and surrounding areas, it's new. New for me. If you watch this series, you'll find out how it's new for me, being a resident of Florida all of my life and never encountering any danger from or damage from the hurricane. People that have experienced the earthquake in Alaska, that was something new there. There are individuals that in California and the fires. So many of us are in a new season. I noticed when I've gone back into Panama City, many of the landmarks that I was familiar with, the old routes are going in or no longer there. I'm having to take a new route. Old landmarks that told me this is my turn or this is where I'm at. I'm having to do things new and different. So I don't want you to be upset over the newness. Understand that this is the season that we're in. So please watch this broadcast and hopefully you'll glean an excitement and feel encouraged in the newness that God, the new things that God is doing.
Oh my God can do anything more than we can ask or think, more than we can imagine in our wildest dreams. Thank you, Lord, by your blood I have been redeemed, and in your mercy you kept me. Who wouldn't let my enemies triumph over me to make me a praise, a testimony?
I will do a new thing in you, a new thing in you. Whatever you ask of me, whatever you need, I will do a new thing in you. And God is doing a new thing. That's what He keeps saying in this season. I'm doing a new thing. Say new. New. New thing. New thing. He makes all things new. Say it. He makes all things new. Put your hands on yourself and say, He's doing a new thing in me.
He's doing a new thing in me.
Now look at your neighbor and say, I'm not really sure if I like it or not.
I'm not really sure if I like it or not.
Definitely not comfortable with what He's doing.
Definitely not comfortable with what He's doing.
But He's God.
But He's God.
Who tells Him what to do?
Who tells Him what to do?
Now if you have good sense, look up and say, not I, Lord.
Not I, Lord.
Now for those that don't have good sense, you're on your own. He makes all things new. He makes all things new. He does new things. He's a God of new things. So Isaiah 43:1. But now, in spite of past judgments for Israel, and Israel is symbolizes the church. For the judgments of Israel, thus saith the Lord, He who created you, O Jacob, and who formed you, O Israel, fear not, for I have redeemed you, transformed you, ransomed you. I have redeemed you, ransomed you by paying a price. Instead of leaving you captive, I have called you by your name. You are mine. Isn't that comforting? God is declaring to the enemy and to you that you are mine. Yeah. And He's reminding you that I ransomed you. I paid the price for you. 4th verse. Because you are precious in my sight and honored, and because I love you, I will give men in return for you and peoples in exchange for your life. 5th verse. Fear not, for I am with you. I will bring your offsprings from the east, where they are dispersed, and gather you from the west. Acts 18, chapter 9th and 10th verse. And one night the Lord said to Paul in a vision, have no fear, but speak and do not keep silent. For I am with you, and no man shall assault you to harm you. For I have many people in this city. God is doing a new thing. Say, Lord, do something new in me.
Lord, do something new.
Now, if you're like me, I'm tired of old ways of doing things. I'm tired of old attitudes. I'm tired of old thoughts. I want to be reprogrammed, recalibrated by you, so I don't behave the old way that I used to. Things that used to knock me down, I don't want to be knocked down by them. Things that used to aggravate me, I don't want to be aggravated by them again. Can I throw some people in there? People that used to get on my nerves, God, I don't want to get on my nerves anymore. I want to forget the former things. Things that used to trip me, I need you to do a new thing in me. That other people look and notice and say, this doesn't seem to bother you. You know what used to get under your skin? You act like a different person. They almost want to check and say, who stole my person? What happened to you? And when they ask you that, say, the Lord has done a new thing in me. I won't be stressed out. I won't be struck down. I won't have a heart attack. God has done a new thing in me. There's no fear over money. There's no fear over people. God has done a new thing in me. I'm not worried about a thing. My future is secure, and I should have always felt that way. But I thank Him that He's done a new thing.
Hallelujah. Yes. Thank you, Lord.
In Acts, the 18th chapter, Corinth was a rough and wicked city. And Paul had been beaten and imprisoned and forced to leave Philippi. They had to sneak him out of Thessalonica at night, and he was driven out of Berea. So it makes sense that the Lord would speak to Paul in a dream saying, fear not. Paul had a reason to fear.
Right.
You ever been stoned? Your past dictates how you behave now. You're not just afraid without a cause. If you were in a plane and that plane dropped and almost crashed, you're affected by that every time you get on the plane. Except God does a new thing and you get on and fall off to sleep and say that you're the pilot, not the co-pilot. I trust you that we're landing safe.
Yes.
When God does a new thing, He takes the sting out. He takes the fret out, the power that it had over you.
Yes.
What He was saying to Paul, I don't want you to be afraid. So it was a command. He wasn't making a request. He was a command. Fear not. Reminded him that they could have stoned you and killed you had not I made them stop short of killing.
Yes.
So God is doing something new in us, so we look at things differently. We look at life differently. He can change our sight. With the same eyes, we're seeing differently. With the same ears, we're hearing differently. So this is about a new season. A season that we're walking in the direction that He's having us walking in. A season that we're embracing. Not old ways of doing things or old ways of handling things, but a new route. Here's the thing about new. Because you've never experienced it, you've never handled it, you've got to walk gingerly. Maybe you've driven a car all your life, but when you get a new car, you've got to learn that new car.
Yes.
My car and I are kind of settled out that Alexis knows that if it breaks down on me, somebody's going to strip it because I'm leaving.
All right.
I don't do cars leaving me by the road.
All right.
That just simply says insurance will pay for whoever steals you. But the new thing He's doing is, I was coming from somewhere and a light came on, and I forget who was riding with me, and I had to say to them, look in the glove compartment, and Alicia, look in the glove compartment and pull out the manual, and I need to see what does this symbol mean. God can take something you've had forever and do something new in you because something new happened. A light came on that had never come on before in the vehicle. I didn't know what the light meant. So until I could figure out what that symbol meant, I didn't know what to do with it. It was new to me. There's some new things cropping up in your life and you don't know what to do with them. So you've got to consult the manual, the Bible. You've got to consult the manufacturer, the one that made you, that created you in His image. You've got to consult Him. Lord, this is new. I don't respond this way. What's happening? What does this mean? What are we doing? command and others follow. But you have paid a price. I feel marks and scars, almost like bullwhips. My grandfather grew up out in the country I grew up. When you hit them with that bullwhip, sometimes it leaves permanent scars. There's been permanent scars on your soul as a result of you crying out. But that desire and that hunger for the perfect will of God for your life, you'll do it over and over and over and over again. It's like your husband that was standing next to you, right behind you. You'll do it over and over. Sometimes she's weird and you don't get it, but you still love her. It's as strange, like I don't know what's happening, but she's still mine. Sometimes the only thing you can do is put your arms around her, and you don't have any answers, but you're in it for the long haul because you know who you are. This is a man that knows who he is, and because of him, you can be who you are. You've gotten the validation from heaven and new marching orders. So the uncomfortable anxiety that you have felt has been the birthing pains, travailing to bring forth something new. He's no longer allowing you to use the old means, old mantle, and worn that out. So he's giving this new mantle. So it's hard for you to lay a map out or lay it out for others because you don't know the route yourself. And God blinded you to it so that you'll have to follow him and walk gingerly every step of the way. Keep doing what you're doing. When we were relocated or displaced, I don't know if I should use displaced because we owned the house in Tallahassee, but when Hurricane Michael tore up our house in Panama City and we were in Tallahassee, and then for the first time since Devin had gone away to college, all of us are under the same roof, her and her husband and little Lindsay and my husband and I, and we didn't console each other, but every day I was saying, why am I here? Why am I here? What? Okay, nothing happens by chance. Michael had to have your permission. Because I'm a child of God. And all the other houses were skipped. And I've been in Florida all my life and never had any damage. What are you up to? It was new. I couldn't read into it other people's opinion. I couldn't read into it others' fears or what they thought about it. I had to ask him, you're up to something. Show me. This is new for me. I've never been affected by a hurricane. This is brand new. Now, I know some of you are expecting a new garment or a new car, but see, the act of God nature is a brand new coincidence or circumstance that's happening in your life. It's a brand new trial. You've never been in this place before. So it's new. You've got to consult the author and the finisher of your faith. All right, this is new to me, God. What are we doing here? We need to walk gingerly. We're riding along one day and Deborah I read a text from her. She said, what am I doing here? I texted her back. I just asked God the same question. Let's both go through it. The next day her husband texted, what are we doing here? She said and I said to him, we asked God the same question. Let's all three of us go to it. Now it's brand new for all three, but he has three different assignments. You can have a new car, and you can have one, and you can have one. Nikki has a new car, all these new cars, but yours is different, yours is different, yours is different. So your new thing may be different from her new thing or her new thing. You got to ask God about the new thing that is doing in you, because our tendency is be comfortable and relapse and go back to the old way. Old way of having church, old way of answering people, old behavior. I'm having to pause and think before I answer, to not be as quick to engage in a conversation that I used to be in the past. That's new. I'll glance at my phone and pray before I answer. My husband may ask me something and he'll say, did you hear me? And I'm praying. This is new. Instead of just answering you out of my head, I need to pray about what's behind that, how you want me to answer that. I need to respond in this season. New. So Paul had a fear, and the Lord showed up in a night vision to tell him not to command him, don't fear. To command Israel, the church, fear not. I'm with you. Who's afraid with God? On board. Look at your neighbor and say, is that you? So what are you saying about God? If Christ in you, the hope of glory, what are you saying about God if you fear it? Let's go in the Word. When Jesus said to them to go over to the other side, and he stayed and a storm arose, and Jesus came walking on the water. Jesus laying in the bottom of the ship, and they're going to wake him up.
Yeah.
Now, if he sleep, he's saying there's nothing to worry about. And if you were asleep too, you wouldn't be worried. That's what you're looking at.
Yes.
You got your eyes on the storm instead of your eyes on Jesus.
Yeah.
Your eyes on the trial instead of your eyes on Jesus.
Yes. Yes.
Why not do what he's doing?
Yes.
Rest in him. And then you're accusatory. You wake him up and say, Master, careth not that I perish. Jesus, do you see what they're doing to me? And then he has to say, I know, I told them to. Do you see this storm? I created the storm. When I told you to go to the other side, it wasn't hidden from me that a storm would arise. Michael didn't surprise God. That's why they call it an act of God. So he's doing a new thing. New. Say new. New thing in me. Whatever I ask, he will do it. Some things haven't happened because you haven't asked.
Yeah.
You're sitting with your mouth closed instead of opening your mouth. What's happening? What's going on, Lord? How should we respond? Who am I supposed to reach today? How am I supposed to help? Where am I supposed to part? Somebody needs my touch. Lord, you gave gifts unto men. Somebody needs my gift.
Yes.
When is the last time you asked him for directions rather than directing him on what to do? Tap a neighbor and say, are you trying to pimp out God? The Lord spoke to Paul by vision at night, and this was one of the many night visions where the Lord spoke to Paul. He spoke to him again when he was in the jail in Jerusalem. So Paul was in the habit or the practice or his life's demonstration. You see these places and times that the Lord shows up and he talks to him. He's jailed for teaching and preaching the gospel. Are you witnessing to enough people that they could arrest you on it, or there's not enough evidence to prove that you're preaching the gospel or teaching the gospel or evangelizing? Again, when he was in the ship going to Rome in a fierce storm and all hope for survival was lost, he showed up again in the night season and he spoke to Paul saying there will be no loss of life. That they're coming in on broken pieces. It became a rhema for us just before Hurricane Michael. The Lord spoke to me and said, and I went on Facebook Live and said to our people, fear not. The Lord said there will be no loss of life. That we're coming in on broken pieces. Fellowship Church of Praise building is broken pieces. Our home, but he said there will be no loss of life, and we didn't lose anybody. I was afraid. And the Lord gave him a vision to comfort him. There were people that were afraid, having a panic attack. And the Lord gave me a vision. The Lord gave me a word to comfort our body as I was praying for our members, saying, Lord, if I had everybody on speed dial, I would have hit them 15 minutes before I left like I did my young adults and said, in 15 minutes we're hitting the road. We're heading to Tallahassee because the Lord said, get out of here. But the Lord said to me, just like every person's fingerprints are different, even identical twins, there are some people I want them to stay.
Yeah.
And there's some people I want them to go. There's some people that I allowed them to have loss of property. And then there's some people I won't let anything happen to their property because they've gone through enough. And I decided that's enough for them. But I decided in your test that you can handle this. And I also wanted to make sure that I have you where I want you to be, doing what I want you to do.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that I fulfill some dreams. So you can't look at someone else and say, why am I going through this and they're not going through this? Because God individualized the trials, the tests. Just like your fingerprints are different, he designed the test just for you.
Yeah.
So you can't cheat. Because you look on their paper and you'll have the wrong answer because your questions are different.
All right.
Your test is different.
My name is Ian. I'm from Toronto, Ontario, Canada. I just had an experience with Dr. Rosier that I just wanted to share. Her prophetic gifting was so on point and insightful and really profound. It allowed, it wasn't just a surface level prophetic insight that she gave, but it was really detail oriented and action oriented. It wasn't just an overview or just like a broad stroke of what's happening in your life. It was really details that you can take action on, and really gave you insight into things that people may have touched the surface on, but haven't gone into details on how to actually be strategic about how you move forward and move ahead. So I would recommend spending some time and actually being a part of any community or any time of workshop that she is facilitating or leading, because I feel like the value that you're able to derive is really something that can really impact and change the trajectory of your life.
Be not afraid, is what the Lord said to Paul in the vision. In spite of previous incidents that gave Paul a reason to be afraid. You may have a reason to fear, but the Lord is saying no fear. The cure for Paul's fears was, I am with you. I am with you. He's with you in the marriage. He's with you in the state of mind that you're in. He's with you because he sees what you're going through. And could it be that you are the navigational system that he has programmed? You don't like the route, but he put that in there. He decided the route you would take. He programmed you. You're the navigational system that he programmed. We were coming back out of Warner Robins after a 3-day meeting just Saturday. Late Friday night, got back in here at 6 a.m. or Gainesville, was heading to Gainesville. And it brought us through some woods. I have gone to Warner Robins many times and have never gone that route.
All right.
You're talking about a new thing. It brought us through some woods that I expected Smokey the Bear to run out there any time. I just kept praying, Lord, please don't let Smokey run in the middle of the road. I was seeing bears where there were no bears. Mountain lions. I kept saying, I know there are critters and creatures out here. Foxes are going to run out, Lord, and not to mention Bambi's great granddad with those antlers. It was taking us a new route, a new way. I didn't like the new because it was dark, there were no street lights, it was a lot of trees. It was threatening for me, but that was the way the navigational system was taking me. And since it lost the satellite, I couldn't reroute to hit the interstate.
My God.
I thought I can't find my way out of these woods. And it seemed like we would never get through till finally, when we came out, it brought us out and brought us maybe a couple of miles from Warner Robins. We missed all the interstates. And I heard again, I'm doing a new thing. The route that I'm taking you through the wilderness may be uncomfortable, and the enemy tried to incite fear, but I'm with you. Thank God, no bears jumped out, no mountain lions, foxes. I knew a lot of them were out there. And when we left Warner Robins, Pastor Phil prayed and said there'll be, after I told him the story, there'll be no mountain lions or bears or anything else jumping out. And Devin and I are riding along talking, and Bambi's great-great-grandfather leaped in front of the car seconds before I hit that spot in the road. God was with us. Seconds before I hit that spot in the road. I mean, literally seconds. He leaped across that road. We looked at each other and said, praise Jesus. And thank God for the intercession that went before us. Because I tried to avoid that route coming back. Some of us are trying to avoid the route that God is sending you on. You're trying to skip that route. And I don't know how in the world we ended up on that same. I said to her, we're not going back through these woods. We're going to do 75. I know 75. Old ways. Former things. Oh, I know that route. I know 75. I can fly out there. I'm good. But God wanted to do a new thing. Say new. Say, it's a new thing.
It's a new thing.
You don't know this route.
You don't know this route.
And this may be frightening.
This may be
And
frightening.
it may be frightening.
It may be frightening.
But God is in it.
God is
He's with you. I'm talking to the believers today. Now, if you don't have a God on your side, we'll pray with you and introduce you to the Savior of our soul, the lover of my soul today. But for those that know Him, those that are Spirit-filled, those that have been ransomed, those that have been redeemed by the blood of the Lamb, He bought you with a price, the shedding of His blood. So He is with you. God spoke through the prophet Isaiah. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed. For I am your God. I love the I wills. I will strengthen you. Isn't that marvelous? You can't muster the strength on your own, but He promised that I will strengthen you. I will help you. Anybody need God's help? Have you ever been in a spot where you said, help God? Maybe you forgot that there were people around and you didn't care. I've been there during the night and said, help! I know there were individuals that stayed in Panama City, and when Hurricane Michael tore through there, they were crying for help. Deborah's father-in-law said he wasn't into all those speaking in tongues and praying, and he used to be our musician. You'll catch that later. And when Hurricane Michael hit that house that they were in and his wife started speaking in tongues, he said, I got to irritate her. Like, this is so religious. Why is she speaking in tongues? He said when it ripped off the roof in that first room and he ran to the second room, he said, pray, baby, pray! She started speaking in tongues when they ran out of that second room into that third room, and he said by that time he was helping her. He didn't know tongues, but he was finding them. He needed help. I will help you. I will uphold you with the right hand of my righteousness.
Okay, I hope you found or gleaned something that was very beneficial. In fact, I know you did. Watching the New Things series. We'll continue from here on next week and the week afterwards. The God that sees, because believe it or not, God sees what you're going through, and He gives you a new way of looking at it. Hopefully your mind was reframed, your thoughts were reframed. It's new. It's a new way of looking at it, and therefore you have the victory over the disaster and all of the things that have transpired in your life. See you next time on Let the Prophet Speak.